When this year started, I was looking for a place to stay. I had moved out of my other place I'd been for about half a year at that point. And there was a listing for a room for rent. Uh, and I said, okay, that looks kind of nice. They had little pictures of it. I thought it was, decent looking online. But for some reason, the place that I first, it was one of the first places I kind of looked into. They were kind of like dragging their feet. And this is actually a problem that other people I've seen in real life have attested to, where a lot of these landlords and homeowners and the rest of them, they have this thing where they will take a long time to respond to somebody, like to just say, hey, you want to come down here and look at this? Okay, we can do this tomorrow, in 2 days, this weekend. For whatever reason, that's like a difficult thing for them to just do. Like there's a lot of shenanigans in the middle of it that make it take longer. So eventually, after about a week, I'm finally allowed to go, get scheduled to go down and see what this place looks like. And I go and stand outside the building. I have the phone number of the lady that's going to be giving me the inspection, or I guess the tour. And I send her a text message, saying, hey, I'm outside. She responds, and she opens the door barefoot. Like, she has on this kind of, and I don't normally talk about what other stuff people don't have. I usually don't care, but it just, that's already like the first sign that this is a place where there's not really a lot of professionalism. It's kind of just, she looks like she just rolled out of bed. It was midway through the morning, about 10-11 o'clock. So I don't expect anyone to be professionally dressed, but that surprised me. So I go in here with her, and she shows me one of the bedrooms. I'm like, wow, this is a pretty big room. Right, as she's opening the door, and I see where there's about 2 to 4 bunk beds in the room, where it's like 2 people laying on top of each other. So about I'd say about 6 to 8 people sleeping within each room on bunk beds. The second I saw that, I instantly became disinterested in wanting to stay there. And she showed me some more stuff, right? They're lovely one bathroom that works, because apparently the other one broke and they couldn't get anyone to fix it or whatever. But as I was kind of just thinking about that tour over the past few months, I said, imagine, because like when I thought it was $700 for a room, I thought that's pretty good. I might take this up. But you're gonna pay just a few $100s short of $1,000 a month for a piece of a room, for a part of a room, for a section of a room. It's really unfortunate. Like for me personally, because I don't have that much stuff, so just having a room would be enough for me to keep most of my things and belongings and whatnot. But there are people who are struggling financially, whatever, and they might look at that option and say, hey, this is like the only this way not to be on the streets. But honestly, even if you're a person who is again struggling, I don't even think that's that good of a deal. Like, we were talking about how in California we have, I think it's 200,000 homeless people, and I mentioned that a lot of people will go and buy some car that they can sleep in the back of, right? And if they can't buy it, they'll lease it, right? $200 a month. And it's like, if you lease the car and stay there or buy it, you don't have to worry about only having this section of the vehicle to be inside of, or sharing a singular bathroom with like double digit number people. But in a way, it all kind of spoke to me of how, because I mentioned that in modern society, the rotten society, everything is overpriced. I like I said, I can understand where someone would look at that and find it appealing if it's their only option or it's what they think is their only option. But again, if you have 700 a month to spare or to use, on rent, so supposedly, I think you can get a better deal with a vehicle. And really, it's sad that we have this like continuous theme of just there is no room for you. There is nowhere you can stay without being charged some crazy amount of money. Regardless of how little material belongings you have, how little space you would actually need to sustain yourself, there's just nothing for you. There's too many people, too little space, and too high prices. All of it is just pushing up against each other to keep reminding you that you're not worthy of having your own even room within someone else's building or domain. Like I said, imagine having to piss out over $2,000 a month just for a 1-bedroom apartment, which is what a lot of people in California do. But also, like, you do that and then you can't buy anything to eat. You can't buy a damn coat or a book. I mean, it's insane. But yeah, that place looked pretty good in the advertisements. Just when I only when I arrived down there did I see what they were really about. And it's so crazy because a person who hears this might go, oh, they probably only had like a few rooms available. No, they have an entire building. So they have, but what it is that they use the different rooms for different things. Like they have one room for a kitchen, they have one room for music, they have one room for like a lounge. Just a lot of like stuff that is, I guess put it this way, it's like if someone, let's say, owned a house or whatever, it's their home, whether they're renting it or not, and it's like 10 bedrooms, and like I feel like most people would say, okay, I'm gonna make half of these bedrooms, and maybe I can use one for a kitchen, right? Maybe one for a restroom. But you get the idea that they might maybe do 3 rooms of like other stuff and then use the other 7 for rooms in case someone has to stay over or whatever. This is the equivalent of having 10 rooms and you use all these different rooms for this weird crap, right? Oh, here's one for TV. Here's one for yoga. Here's one for exercising. You're like, well, where the hell are people supposed to sleep? Oh, they can all sleep crowded in bunk beds in this 1 bedroom or these 2 bedrooms out of the 10 rooms we have. And they had more than 10, I should say that, because it was a whole damn hallway. But I just thought that was so crazy. They have all this space in this place, right? And they would waste all of these rooms on a bunch of like different activities and stick everybody together in 2 bedrooms or 1 bedroom or 3 bed. It was nuts. But you really see just how like the logic inside of people's minds, right? Like, hey, we have all of these different rooms available to us. We could theoretically give everyone their own room, paying $700 a month just to stay here, and probably even more money if it's depending on where to get, because that wasn't in an area where you have to pay for parking, because they have turned many of the different parts of California into like places where you get punished for having a car, right? You have to park inside of some facility, or if you park your car in this one place, depending on what time of day, you'll get towed or a ticket, just stupid stuff. But they, instead of taking the option of, okay, we'll charge people $700, but you'll be getting your own bedroom, right? Your own bedroom, and you can put whatever you want in there. They don't do that. They give you're supposed to give them, again, a few $100s removed from $1,000 every month for a piece of a room. And I remember when I was talking to the lady, and she was like, "Oh, if you stay here, you get your own, you get a free blanket." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sure that's a real that's a real deal for anybody paying out. I mean, the reality is, like, if you pay out $700 a month, if you can afford that, you probably could get several blankets. You know, it's oh boy, housing over here is horrendous. But I just wanted to share that anecdotal story because, like I said, I would feel more inclined if it had been separate rooms. The fact that it wasn't really made no sense, given how much space and how many rooms were available to them. It's unfortunate that there were people living there because, like, they think it's cool to not cool, but like they would be okay with or accept paying out $700 a month to get a piece of a room. But you know, people was it different strokes for different folks. I just think the whole thing is sad. You know, the cost of living, it goes up and up. The price of dying stays as free as possible.